what's a word in there that you're not quite sure about?
Arrangement.
Arrangements. Any idea how we can figure it out?
Well, there's the keywords as such as.
Keyword. So we know we have such as. We've seen that in all of our sentences. Oh, 2 of the sentences. We have that. What else do we have that will help us?
In the word arrangement, there's the word arrange, and that means to organize or set up.
Awesome. Great job in pulling that out. Could we use organize as a synonym?
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes when I find words that I'm not sure about, I'll try and see what makes sense and then see if a synonym makes sense in there. So we've got that. All right, so we're looking at arrange as organize. I usually let Matthew organize the parties. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that works, using those context clues? All right, we've got such as. What's another clue that I can use?
For example.
For example. Give me another one. For instance. And another one. Like. Did we catch them all?
No.
Including.
Oh, including. Oh, yeah. How did I forget including? All right. Before we go to our groups, what's one way that we can figure out a word if we don't have these signal words?
You could look in the word and see if there's any other smaller words inside of it and try to figure out the meaning of that word, and that can help you get the real meaning of that word.
Awesome, like we did with arrangements. Okay?
I'd like to add on, when we try to look for context clues, we might also use Greek and Latin words.
Using the Greek and Latin roots. I love how you used our academic vocabulary in that.
I agree with Patricia because sometimes there's a Greek and Latin root, but it's just like a few worded sentence, so you can figure out the Greek and Latin root and then find the base word.
Okay, what if that isn't possible?
If the word has a synonym, try and find the synonym.
Well, we have to understand the word to find the synonym. So I like your strategy, but that's working backwards a little bit. So usually when we're reading, do we only see one sentence in what we're reading?
No.
No. So there's a little clue there for you.
There's lots of sentences around the sentence, so you can use those sentences too.
Yeah. Yeah. Could we also draw conclusions?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, can you flip that close for me? I'll leave these up as reminders of some of what we may need to look for. Group A, will you go over to your table, please? And your instructions are there on what you're going to be working on for context clues. Group E, will you meet me at the big table? Thank you. The other groups, this is your independent reading time. Some of you are independent reading, some of you are working on text structures. So I'd like you to go to your group. All right, I'd like us to turn to page 16. Got a couple words there that I think are probably new for you. Anybody see what those are? Because they're already highlighted for us.
Maybe logic.
Logic. All right. They would need to use logic and new ways of thinking to work out the solutions. How are we going to figure out what that means?
Look for words around it.
Look for words around it. Do we have any of our signal words there, kids? No, so this is one of those times where you have to understand maybe main idea. Okay, so for this part of the contest, each team would solve a number of extremely difficult problems together. They would need to use logic and new ways of thinking to work out the solutions. What do we think logic means, and how are we going to help ourselves figure that out?
New ways of thinking.
New ways of thinking, because that's already in this sentence, so what does that tell you about using logic then?
It's saying if it's similar to logic, so you can think logic is like new ways of thinking.
Logic is...
Using new ways of thinking.
Well, they have to solve extremely difficult problems together, so they're going to have to come up with new ways of thinking. I like the way you're thinking.
They gotta like use their sense to do it. They gotta like, they couldn't just say, well, I think this is the answer. They had to try to figure it out using it their own.
Using what they know. Okay.
They have to like work out new solutions, because if one thing does not work, they have to try another thing.
Okay, logic. Using your information, what works, what doesn't work. So here's what your task is going to be. I'm going to have you go through the book. I want you to find 3 other words that aren't familiar to you, and you can work in partners. And then I want you to write them down, see if there's any context clues, signal words that we've used before, and write those down. And then discuss what you think it means. And then the next piece of that is you're going to get the dictionary, and you're going to write down the definitions, and then find synonyms. What book are you going to use to find a synonym? The thesaurus, right. Why do we care about finding synonyms? If we're trying to figure out an unknown word, why are we going all of a sudden to synonyms?
Because when you don't know a word, you're trying to find synonyms, so you like, so if you know the synonym, you're gonna like basically understand the sentence a little bit more.
Okay.
When you're writing, you don't just want to say like. You want to find different words that are alike to like.
That are alike to like? Alike to like, such as? All right, so we're clear on what we're doing, and we understand why we're doing it. All right, get to it.